Katie's mission.
I spent my career mostly in education and helping individuals with disabilities. I have no formal medical or nutritional training. All of my training, all of the information that I've gained has just happened through my own quest, my own desire to understand better how I can be healthier and how I can help others be healthier too. And I've been studying this for well over 25 years. And my talk today is really about how food can affect our mood. I was raised, as Kim said, here in upstate New York and in a big family. And I was raised eating fresh, good, homemade food. And I'm really glad that I was raised that way because it taught me how to be a cook from scratch. That's what I've done most of my life. Now, of course, while I was busy, raising a family, we relied on those occasional hamburger helpers and mac and cheese in the box. Fortunately, I don't eat any of that kind of stuff now, but I do understand it if you're looking for something quick and easy, and that's what you grab. But I'm here to kind of share some other things that you might want to take into consideration. And probably it was about 27 years ago when I was first introduced to nutritional supplements. And that's what really started my journey on studying why is this so important. More recently, back in the fall of 2021, I actually was at work one day and started having kind of like some heart palpitations. I ended up going to the doctors. I had high blood pressure. First time in my life. I'm well into my 60s, and I'd never, ever experienced anything like that before. And so I went to an urgent care, and the doctor said, look, your blood pressure is sky high. We need to do something right away. So he put me on medication. So obviously I went home and I jumped right into looking at my diet. What am I eating? What can I do better to create better health? And I had really been kind of dabbling in plant-based, and I just went full on plant-based eating. I said, that's it. Long story short, 3 months later, I was off my meds, eating plant-based as I am today, about 95% of the time. I do on occasion, have the occasional dairy products, meat really very, very rarely, occasional, piece of fish or something. But other than that, I am just really into the plant-based. And what happened was I noticed that I really started feeling better. There was a lot less anxiety. I was handling the stress better, and I had much less aches and pains, just general aches and pains in my body, and I'm sleeping better. I mean, I was like, wow, this is really strange. And then I was listening to a podcast, and I heard that a plant-based diet can positively improve our mood. And I was like, wow, so that's me. Maybe that's why I'm, really feeling better. So I started to do the research, and I found through this research that there really is a huge connection between our foods that we eat and how our brain is working, and actually how all of our body is working. But our mental health, it comes from right here. And feeding our brain good fuel, full of rich nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all of that stuff, is going to impact all of our body organs. Just think about it. Our brain is working 24/7, just like all of our major organs. And if we feed it junk, it's going to put out junk. I mean, that just makes sense. So if we feed it good stuff, it's going to be able to work better, and produce better thoughts. Okay. So somebody compared it to like a luxury car. If you feed it good fuel, it's going to, run better. Same with our bodies. You feed it good fuel, it's going to run better. There's a fairly new field in medicine called the field of nutritional psychiatry. It's been around for a while, but one of the newer fields of psychiatry. And I found it really, really interesting. And they found that there's a huge, very strong correlation between what we eat, how we feel, and ultimately how we behave. Studies have shown that people who eat a more traditional diet And you might think that the standard American diet is traditional. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a traditional diet like the Mediterranean diet or a Japanese diet. People who eat this way have up to a 35% less risk of experiencing depression. Wow, I thought that's pretty cool. So what is it about these diets compared to the standard American diet, or as some of us like to refer to it as the SAD diet, SAD, standard American diet. These traditional diets, compared to our more American diet, have a lot more fruits, a lot more vegetables. They tend to eat minimal amounts of lean meat or fish, and much less, if any, processed foods. I think processed foods is really, really key here. And what the studies are also finding is that consuming less processed foods will lead to better brain and emotional health. Listen, a clean, healthy diet can help us think more clearly, feel more alert, and a lot less sluggish. I'm gonna really challenge you to give this a shot, because when we eat a lot of processed foods, they're actually highly addictive. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the food industry, especially the snack industry, is trying to make their foods more addictive, so we eat more. You remember that commercial? It was a potato chip commercial. I bet you can't eat just one. And, between their marketing and the additives that the food, companies are putting in their foods, it's true. They actually create foods that are going to stimulate the centers in our brain that are associated with pleasure. That's what they're trying to do, because you feel good when you eat it and you want to eat more. But really, removing sugars and refined carbs from your diet actually begins to change the physiology of your brain. It's actually going to change what's happening in your brain. In addition, processed foods and sugars, they really create inflammation throughout our body, including in our brain. And this, it's been shown in studies, can contribute to how you feel. All right. Also, the more processed foods people eat, the more they're likely to experience higher anxiety and higher levels of depression. When you eat too much, what happens is you become sluggish. That's because you're eating all of the kinds of foods that are just kind of sitting in your stomach and taking a long time for your intestines and whatnot to process that. When you eat good, clean food, it actually processes much more naturally. You're going to get more energy and feel much better throughout the day. If you deal with stress by eating less, it's kind of going to have a similar effect, because you're just not going to have enough fuel and you're going to feel sluggish and tired, and you're not going to have the energy to do the things you want to do, and then you get more depressed because you just can't get up and go. So we really have to find a good balance and eat good food so that we can continue to just like I said, fuel our body with that good stuff so we can continue to go throughout the day. So the recommendation here is to really eat clean for like 2 to 3 weeks and see how you feel. I would recommend, just jot down how you are feeling as you start on this journey, eating clean. And what do I mean by eating clean? I'm going to share with you really what I mean by that. You're going to take the sugar and the processed foods out of your diet. Okay, sugar is really number one. If you drink sodas, if you drink those already mixed iced teas, they're full of sugar. You've got to just stop that. That's a number one thing. Look at what you're drinking. If you're drinking, coffee with a lot of those artificial creamers with they taste really yummy. That French vanilla, that hazelnut, all those caramel latte, all that stuff. Try to switch to water. You can put fruit in there, put some apple slices. I don't mean apple slices, orange slices, lemon slices, lime slices, cucumbers even. Cucumbers are really good in water if you need a little flavor. If you really need some sweetness, add a little bit of honey, maybe a little bit of pure maple syrup, just a little tiny bit to give you a little bit of sweetness if you really need that. And then keep cutting back until you can drink without that. Just plain water is the best thing to drink. The processed foods, that means the junk, the chips, the cheese doodles, the cookies, the cakes, the white and refined flours. You want to get rid of that. All of that is doing is just creating a sluggish system in your body. The box cereal is really, those are full of sugar. They're really not that good for you either. And if you think oatmeal is that little packet that you actually put in there and, add hot water to and get a bowl of oatmeal, that's not oatmeal. I'm gonna talk to you in a little bit about what really real oatmeal is and how you can start your day with that. Again, you wanna carbs, get a really bad rap sometimes, and there's a lot of talk out there about don't eat the carbs, but refined carbs, like I just described, like the processed breads and cakes and pasta and white flour and white pasta and those kind of things, those really, they turn to sugar really, really quickly in your body, give you a quick high, and then you're going to drop low. What you really want are complex carbs. Complex carbs are your whole grains like brown rice and quinoa, sweet potatoes, starchy vegetables like your broccoli, carrots, and cauliflower. Those carbs are good for you. So please don't cut those carbs out of your diet. It's the refined carbs. They're not even the same creature. So really do a little research yourself and look that up. You really need those carbs. They're filling. They're full of nutritious nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff that you need. Lean protein, chicken or fish. I would also like to challenge you to try some plant-based protein. I know a lot of people that are eating what we call plant forward. So they're just eating more plants, maybe not cutting out all of the meat. I think that eventually you should cut out all the meat. I just think it's not good for us, but that's a different story for another day. I'm just looking for people to eat cleaner. So eat less meat, make sure it's lean fish, lean chicken. There are some lean beefs out there, if just a little piece, you don't need a big honking tomahawk steak, just a little filet maybe. Anyways, but if you want to try some plant protein, try beans. There's all kinds of beans. Tofu, don't eat it plain, that white chunk right out of the package. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You need to marinate it, you need to season it, and tofu is really, really good. Nuts and seeds, all good sources for your protein. Fresh fruits. And if you want to add some peanut butter maybe to your apple to make it like a really nice snack, don't get that jarred stuff at the grocery store. It's got all kinds of extra oils and sugars and additives to make it creamy and smooth. Find a place that just blends up just plain peanuts or just plain almonds. It's just almonds. The almond butter, that's what I like. The only ingredient is almonds. That's it. It's just crushed up almonds, and it's absolutely delicious. It's so much better for you. It's just really, really healthy. So I'm going to challenge you to try this, like I said, for 2 to 3 weeks, and then just see how you feel. Just kind of pay attention to your mood, pay attention to the energy level, to your thought processes. Are you able to really think clearer? I think you're going to be able to. And emotionally, see how you're feeling. The first couple of days, I will warn you, a lot of times people actually feel worse, and they're like, this isn't working, Dara. But a lot of times that's flushing out all the toxins. So give it a few days. Believe me, by day 4, 5, 6, you're going to really start feeling a whole lot better. I also, I'm talking about reading labels, make sure there's not a lot of chemicals in your food, and eating less processed foods is going to do a world of good for your physical and your mental well-being. And I promised that I was going to talk a little bit about oatmeal. Listen, if you're not an oatmeal fan, I want you to just try something for me. If you've never had steel cut oats, that's my favorite. They're really chunky, and they're very filling. They give you a great amount of, energy throughout the day. I like to cook it in my Instapot. So I usually do about 4 servings, so I have it for a few days. And I add fruit, whether it be fresh or frozen. You can add nuts or seeds. You can add dried fruit if you want. I like to cut up a couple of dates and throw them in there for the sweetness. If you don't want to use dried fruit, maybe a little bit of maple syrup if you just need a little bit of sweetener. I also like to put it like half water and half like almond milk or oat milk or something like that. It just makes it a little bit creamier. Believe me, it's a whole lot different if you're used to eating that instant oatmeal. This is like night and day. And if you'd like to learn more about how to start your day, eating more plants, like kickstart your day, I've got a freebie for you, and there should be a link down below. And what I did was I gathered favorite breakfast meals from hundreds of plant-based eaters, and I put them all together in this simple to download PDF for you. And if you click on that link, it'll get sent right out to you. I'll be happy to, send that out to you. And it's a really nice way for you to get started and, find your way into the plant-based world. If you want more information, I also have a great Facebook group that's called Plant-Based Fast and Easy. You can find it on Facebook. I think I can probably drop that link down to you as well. But I promise you, if you turn your diet around, start eating more plants, less processed foods, you are going to feel better. Your thinking is going to be clearer, and you're just going to feel better. So that's my talk for today.
Katie's mission